Screen is LinkedIn 101. Okay, I see a couple of heads nodding. Thank you. Great. So I had some conversations with Marianne and Robin about LinkedIn and what I do, and she thought it'd be great to have a webinar to teach some people about LinkedIn. And my purpose is really about expanding your visibility and your confidence. If you're kind of clueless about LinkedIn, or maybe you're nervous about getting visible, maybe not sure like what my target market would be, that's really who I designed this for today. So who I am as your facilitator, I've been in corporate America for over the last 15 years, primarily with Fortune 100 companies. And a lot of the projects I've worked on, over 90% of them have involved me using LinkedIn. I'm actually certified in a lot of advanced tools, and I carry a $10,000 LinkedIn recruiter license. But over the last year, what I have been most surprised about is how few people know about LinkedIn. They're either afraid of it or they're just maybe not using it correctly. So my gift is I'm really a business strategist, and I'm here to kickstart your journey to getting visible on LinkedIn. My philosophy is life does not have to be hard. Let's do things with ease. So hopefully I'll take some of the mystery out of LinkedIn today for you. We're going to just do kind of a quick who is LinkedIn for, take some of the deal with some of the misconceptions, an overview of LinkedIn. I want to spend the majority of time on really providing some value and talking about the most impactful areas in your profile. And then at the end, for those of you that want more information, I do want to offer you a LinkedIn critique and spend the majority of our time on the Q&A of just really getting your questions answered. So please write down questions that you have if you've got a pen and paper handy. I want to make sure we address all of them at the end. So let's take a quick minute in the chat to kind of find out who's on the call as it relates to LinkedIn. I'm going to give you a statement, and then if you could type the underlined words that best describe you in the chat. And Marianne, if you could kind of tell me back what you're seeing or if there's any patterns. So if you just don't believe in social media, type in the chat, don't believe. Or maybe you're not looking for a job, so you think if I'm not in a job search, I don't need LinkedIn. Type in no job search. Or you have a small business, so you think LinkedIn isn't for me because it's only for big companies. Type in small business. Or maybe you just don't know much about LinkedIn. Type in unknown. Or if I did not capture where you're at with LinkedIn, just type in other. And let's take a minute to see what's going on in the chat. Marianne, do you see any synergies? I'm not able to look at the chat right now.
It's mostly unknown or other.
Okay, great. So let's dive into getting those of you that have said unknown, don't know much about LinkedIn. We're going to get you exposed and get most of those questions and thoughts answered. And then for those of you that are in the other mode, we're going to get all your questions answered in that Q&A. So please take some notes. So in just looking at an overview of LinkedIn, we're going to talk about kind of why use it, when to use it, LinkedIn versus Facebook, how does LinkedIn work, and then we'll talk about that profile. So why I use LinkedIn, a lot of people don't even realize how big the network is. There are about 660 million members in 200 countries on LinkedIn. And it's a great tool for those of you that have said, you know, maybe you're based in Florida, but you can do business across the United States. There's about 165 million members just in the United States alone. And it is virtually an untapped market, with 40% of the users are on LinkedIn on a daily basis. And it's really been exploding over the last 3 years. It is considered the most effective platform for B2B lead generation. And one of the things I really like most about LinkedIn is you can become authority very quickly on LinkedIn because of the low competition for posting. This number still blows my mind that only 3 million people on LinkedIn are sharing weekly content. So your content is often pushed out via LinkedIn, and it's reaching a large audience. So something to think about with LinkedIn is people are on LinkedIn to do business. They're there to learn about business, and they're there to find business opportunities. What you might not know about it is Microsoft actually purchased LinkedIn in 2016. And that's why there's been a lot of changes over the last few years. The new CEO in 2020 actually committed to a growth plan to grow LinkedIn to 3 billion members. So if you want to get involved in something that's growing, talk about 660 million members are already there, and they want to grow to 3 billion. About posts on LinkedIn. Many of you might not be aware that up to 5 times as many people will see your lives and your posts on LinkedIn than they will on Facebook. It's a highly visible medium. And clients are actually getting up to 52% opt-in rates on lead magnets. For those of you that offer free gifts or kind of a click here to a landing page, that's a really high return rate. One of the things that really separates LinkedIn from Facebook, and we're going to talk a little bit about the differences in a minute, but I wanted to emphasize it here, is you just have a higher quality lead on LinkedIn. The household incomes are higher than Facebook, with over 60% of the users on LinkedIn have incomes over $100,000 a year. So this chart is a great tool to kind of look at what are the top social traffic sites and what percentage are each of them at. You can see that Instagram offers about 15% of the social traffic from B2B websites and blogs. YouTube, which is another great vehicle, is at 67%. Facebook, 76%, nothing to be ashamed of. It's a great tool. And Twitter's at 87%. But you've got LinkedIn actually making up 50% of all social media traffic to B2B websites and blogs with 92%. So what that means is converting can become really simple. It's literally rejection free on LinkedIn, the way if you set it up correctly, because people are already looking for you. They want your product or service or solution, and they're on LinkedIn to connect with another business. So what about those B2B lead gen processes? I was really surprised to see just how high this is. LinkedIn has over 80% of social media business to business leads. Considering Twitter is only at 12.7%, Facebook is at 6.73%. So LinkedIn is the leading social media channel for B2B marketers, and Twitter is number 2, but not a close number 2, as you can see. So a lot of people are more familiar with Facebook, or they're asked, well, when do I use LinkedIn versus Facebook? I thought it might be helpful to give you a couple tips on this. You actually want to leverage both for your posts. LinkedIn and Facebook are great for posts, but as I mentioned earlier, you can become a quicker authority on LinkedIn. I've heard people compare LinkedIn to Facebook 15, 20 years ago when it was kind of the wild, wild west and people were just starting to post and it was the place to be. But with Facebook, only 3 million people sharing weekly posts, you really have a lot of opportunity to get your name out there and quickly rise up through the ranks. Facebook, I've found, is actually better for groups than LinkedIn. LinkedIn does have groups, but it just hasn't taken off yet as well as Facebook has. The other thing to keep in mind, if you are considering lead generation, LinkedIn is far cheaper than Facebook. For those of you that have done Facebook ads, often you're paying anywhere from, I've seen between $700 and $1,500 to pay an agency for lead gen. And then on top of that, you have an ad spend. Versus LinkedIn, they're charging anywhere from $700 to $1,000 with no ad spend. So you can literally create LinkedIn campaigns for a lot cheaper than Facebook. And then also you're reaching a higher quality lead because of the demographics. Some of you might also not be aware that if you have a LinkedIn business page, it can help you get ranked higher on Google because the two are tied together with the logarithms. And LinkedIn target market reach is far greater than Facebook. So how does LinkedIn actually work? It's really all about relationships. You connect, then you do business offline. So in walking through kind of 5 steps on how to market on LinkedIn, the first piece is positioning yourself as a trusted authority. And how you do that is often with the post, sharing, commenting, and having an optimized profile, which is why we're going to spend some time on that profile. The second piece on marketing is you want to connect with highly targeted prospects. LinkedIn is very specific. It doesn't drill into the income levels that Facebook does, but you can target very specific niche markets, and you want to target a very specific geography, a job title that the person might be holding. Um, there's several different things that you can actually target for prospects. You want to build an audience through these connections. Now, what's unique about your audience on LinkedIn, it's literally just your niche market. It's not like Facebook where it's kind of many people across different niches. You can get really specific on building your audience on LinkedIn. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cultivate relationships with prospects while you're collecting their contact information. And then you convert those prospects into customers. So how it works is it's literally connections first. You build a relationship, it develops into a lead, and then you sell something. So it's really not until the very end that you will bring up what your product or service is that you have to market. You never want to talk about that in the early stages of connecting and relationships. And that'll give you those 30 to 40% response rates. So a lot of people, when you start working with these social media companies, you want to know about the logarithms and how to win on LinkedIn's logarithm. First of all, it's having that optimized profile. And optimized means that you're really using as many pieces of the profile and tools, and you're using them to their greatest advantage. You want to build your audience connections and be very specific about that audience that you're targeting. You'll comment and react regularly. So that could be once a week, once a day. LinkedIn is very easy as an app to use on your phone. You can comment, share posts. You can set up timed posts so that you write all your posts on the weekend once a month, and then you schedule a timer to send them out. You can create and share text or video content. And something that is really underused on LinkedIn is people don't really know how to give and receive recommendations. But as you're connecting and building relationships, you want to be able to give and receive recommendations with people. So one of the things I do when I do LinkedIn critiques at the end is I'll actually walk you through and show you how to receive and give a recommendation, so that immediately when you get off the phone, you're able to go and give out recommendations to people. And then that'll in turn give you more recommendations back. And then what you do is you have conversations via Messenger. And the more conversations that you're having and connecting, the higher response rates you're going to get. Because remember, it's all about building your network, and your network is your net worth. So let's dive into this profile. What makes a great profile? I want to just deal with the most impactful areas. So we're going to talk about the photo piece, which is going to be the headshot and banner, the headline, and the about section today. Now, I did a before and after because I know there's some of you on this call that your profile actually looks like the before picture. You have a blue banner background, that's the default banner. And maybe you even have a job title for your title under your picture. And that job title is actually a default, and so is that banner. So we really want to optimize your profile. Let's dive into some of these pieces. So in talking about that headshot photo, did you know that a professional headshot profile actually will receive 36 times more messages? Um, Also, using color really makes that pop. It could be the background. People are starting to put, instead of a white background behind their face, they're using a colored background, or it's the shirt that you're wearing, or jacket, or you can actually put a border around your picture, but bringing color into your photo to make it pop. Now, something that many people might not know is, how big do you want your face taking up in that picture? 60% of your face should occupy the space for your photo shot. And headshots are ideally 400 by 400 pixels. What you don't want to do is do not use a selfie or a picture that's over 12 months old. And like Facebook, many of the pictures will incorporate hobbies, spouses, pets. You do
Do you have a
not.
link here?
Yeah.
If someone who could mute that just joined, incorporate, you don't want to incorporate hobbies, spouses, or pets, and then avoid those small, low resolution images that can be blurry. Couple tips for you about that headshot: be approachable. They always tell you warm and friendly, be smiling, use that color to brand yourself, and use a professional headshot. So what about that banner? This is prime real estate. 70% of LinkedIn users are on a mobile device, and your profile picture and this banner on a smartphone actually changes. So I wanted to bring this to people's attention that when you view your LinkedIn profile on the computer, you're going to see it look the way it does now. Your picture is off to the left side, and then you've got a banner going across. When it converts to mobile, your picture actually centers in the middle of the banner. So you want to be aware of that when you're designing. And studies show that when you show yourself actually doing what you do for business, it increases your credibility. This person is a coach and trainer, so if she's being shown public speaking, it can actually increase credibility. Or maybe you have a marketing company and you wrap cars or fleets. You might want to have a banner that shows actually some people actually taking care of one of your clients wrapping a vehicle. 11 times greater chance of getting viewed than those that don't have graphics is something to be aware of. It dramatically increases the amount of people that will spend time viewing your profile. And for those of you that are a little bit gun shy on design, a great program to use is Canva. They actually do have templates for LinkedIn banners on Canva, and also for posts, just like in Facebook, and headshots that you can do different things with headshots. So Canva is very user-friendly for LinkedIn, and it will really give you a professionally designed profile. So what not to do on this banner? Don't use artwork that's too busy. Less is really more, because this is prime real estate. You may want to have actual words, headlines that you can actually use in your banner also. But don't go off brand. It's your billboard to tell the world what you offer, so keep it consistent with your brand. And you don't want to overdo it. Just ensure the important information is on your banner. A couple tips: brand one thing, a product, a service, a name, or a problem you solve. Now, I've had a lot of discussions with people about what about branding my company versus my name, or a service. Companies are kind of tricky. If it's a large corporation, or maybe it's in recruiting and you're driving people to follow a company, that's another story. But for most of us with smaller businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, you really want to brand your name, the problem you solve, or maybe your product or service. You want to design it for a mobile device. Remember, that photo is going to become centered when it converts to mobile, and 70% of people are viewing LinkedIn on a mobile device. So showcase what you do in your banner and brand your colors. You know, tie it to the different pieces of your marketing campaign. Maybe it's your website, your Facebook page, your business card. Use the same colors. Now, what about that headline? A lot of people don't understand how to use the headlines. The headline is right under your picture, and it's under your name. So did you know that headlines are actually searchable for people to find you? It's a really great tool to use keywords. So you do not want to waste this space. You want it to really work for you. And many people are not aware that when you click on a profile, LinkedIn will actually suggest other people to connect with along the side that are similar based on the profile that you clicked on. Now, what people really don't know is that LinkedIn will truncate the first line of your headline. So you want it to be short snippets that 1, 2, 3 words at most, that if it's truncated, they will still be able to find you with the right types of people. So you don't want to use the default LinkedIn headline for the job title. And you do not want to use sentences in your first area of the headline. A lot of people will have that sentence, I help people do blank to blank. The I help statement is great. It's still great to use, but don't use it in that first line because of it being truncated. So a couple tips, 2 to 4 searchable words that can be truncated. That's your first line in your headline. And I really take time identifying those keywords that people are searching for you on that are your target audience, and be as specific as you can. What you do so they know how you can help them. You want to have that very clearly defined in that headline. Now, what about the about section? I have to tell you, I could spend an hour just on the about section. If you get this right, you're going to be in the top 10% of people using LinkedIn. So for the matter of time today, I just want to focus on 3 things to give you to think about. And if you get really clear about these 3 things, you're going to write a great about section. The first is what is going to differentiate you and how will their life be different because of you? You really want to speak to that. You want to know your target audience before you ever start writing your about section, because you're going to write it specifically for that person. What's your superpower? Who do you serve? Be really clear about that before you ever begin writing your about section. And many people do not have a call to action in their about section. It's one of the most important things at the very end. You need to define what action do you want people to take on your LinkedIn profile. Are you building a network and you want to ask them to connect with you? Just click the connect button. Are you now have a lot of connections and now you want them to follow you and click on a follow button? Do you want them to join something? Do you have a lead magnet and you want them to click on something that you're giving away as for your business? Or maybe you want them to schedule a call and it's a Calendly link. Make sure that you have a call to action in your about section, either to connect, follow, join, click, or schedule. So you're asking yourself, all right, this is good information, but what's the next step? I think there's people that fall into 3 different categories. You're either a do-it-yourself person, just give me some information, let me run with it, or I want to do it with me, or just do it for me. I don't want to get involved in this. So we created a LinkedIn critique so you can really learn how to optimize your profile, or we can just do it for you. And that's all you have to do is schedule a business consult or a private LinkedIn critique with me. I'm actually going to go through your profile and rate 18 points on your profile. We'll give you a rating and we'll address every single area, what's working, what's not, what you might have missed. And we can help you clarify that purpose for your profile and give you that differentiator, the target market, or the call to action. That's all you need to do is go to calendly.com/Kirsten Marie to schedule a LinkedIn critique. And Kirsten is spelled Kirsten Marie. Regularly, I charge $299 for that, but for the first people that sign up today, they're only going to pay $249, and I'm going to donate 20% of the proceeds to Robin for this networking group. But I want to make it easy and simple for you to kind of take that information and run with it. I've actually had clients tell me on the LinkedIn critique, it's about a 45-minute process, that in the first 30 minutes, they learned more than the last 2 people they've hired to do their LinkedIn profile. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, I want to give you all the information you need to be able to run with it and optimize your profile. Or if you're a do it for me, maybe you're going to get a little bit overwhelmed on the call and you're like, you know, this is a little bit over me. I'm not interested. Just go ahead and do it for me. Something else I wanted to mention today is, since so many of you are on this call own small businesses, I felt I had to tell you about a unique connection I have. I actually know a business energetics oracle named Samantha. And the one thing often here is missing with small businesses is they don't work on the business energetics behind their business. And that's the belief system, the old stories you tell yourself, or releasing those bad experiences you've had or bad clients in business. Well, once a year, Samantha holds an intimate workshop, and she actually does energetic clearings for participants. I was talking with her this weekend and told her that I was going to be doing a webinar today to small business owners. And so I wanted to make sure I mentioned this to some of you. If you're feeling blocked in your business, and you know it's just not about more hustle, or you've done all the strategy and tactical work, but you're not seeing results afterwards, once a year, she hosts this intimate workshop. She actually does energetic clearings of participants, and she provides videos to help you clear blockages to align your spirit with your business. If this is something you're interested in, just feel free to type your cell phone in the chat, and I'm happy to send you a link to get you connected. So let's talk about the Q&A session. If we can take everybody off of mute and raise your hand with Zoom or type a question in the chat, let me get to answering your questions.